Welcome back. Today, we're counting down the top 6 most valuable US Roosevelt Dime that, even in different condition, are still worth big bucks. Let's get started. First up, the 2004 with P mint mark. We'll be looking at what makes this coin special, its value in today's auction market, and why it might be worth a second look in your collection. Let's start by looking at the coin itself. The Roosevelt Dime, first minted in 1946, features the iconic profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Its design, created by artist John R. Sin Nock, has been unchanged for decades. But today we're focusing on a 2004 Roosevelt Dime, which carries the P mint mark, indicating it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, when it comes to dimes from this era, the 2004 issue isn't particularly rare in general. The mint produced over 1 billion of these coins. However, the value of your 2004 Roosevelt Dime will depend heavily on its condition and the market trends. Speaking of condition, today we're looking at a 2004 Roosevelt Dime in fine condition. You may wonder, what exactly does fine condition mean? A coin in fine condition will show clear signs of wear, but it still retains much of its detail. The features of Roosevelt's face and the torch on the reverse are still visible, but there might be some light scratches, dings, or fading from circulation. Now, let's talk numbers. The value of a 2004 Roosevelt Dime with P mint mark in fine condition is generally not astronomical, but it can still fetch a respectable price in the right market. In today's auction market, you can expect this coin to sell for around $6,000, depending on factors like demand, the specific auction platform, and whether the coin is being sold individually or as part of a lot. While the 2004 Roosevelt Dime isn't particularly rare, certain factors can affect its value. Coins in higher grades, like uncirculated or proof versions, could command higher prices, especially if they have unique characteristics like toning or errors. However, for a fine condition coin with P mint mark, you're looking at a modest but still collectible price. Interestingly, if you happen to find a 2004 Roosevelt Dime with P mint mark in a coin roll or in your pocket change, it could still be worth more than its face value due to its age and condition. But don't expect to retire on the proceeds from this one. If you're selling it at auction, you're likely to get a fair value, but not a huge profit. So why is the 2004 Roosevelt Dime significant in the first place? It may not be the rarest coin in the world, but it is part of a beloved series that has been in production for over 70 years. Roosevelt Dimes in general hold historical and numismatic importance, which is why collectors keep an eye on even the more common years. At the end of the day, the value of your 2004 Roosevelt Dime with the P mint mark in fine condition comes down to what you're willing to pay for it as a collector and what buyers are willing to pay when it comes time to sell. If you find one in your pocket change, it's always nice to know it's worth more than just 10 cents, but if you're looking to make a fortune, this one probably won't be the coin that gets you there. Next up, the most valuable 1967 Roosevelt Dime in dirty condition, a coin that might surprise you when you find out its current auction value. Let's get into it. The Roosevelt Dime was first issued in 1946 in honor of President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing. The 1967 Roosevelt Dime, like many other coins, has its own specific features and characteristics. And while you might think a coin with some wear and dirt on it would have little to no value, that's not always the case. Now, first things first, let's break down the significance of the large date and the lack of a mint mark on the coin. You may notice that the large date refers to the design where the numbers 1 and 9 in the year are larger compared to other years in the 1960s series. The large date design was introduced specifically in 1968, but 1967 versions were still made with this larger date feature. As for the mint mark, since this coin lacks one, it means it was struck in Philadelphia, the mint where coins without a mint mark are produced. Now, here's the kicker: our coin today is in dirty condition. You can see the tarnish and grime that has built up over the years. While you might think this would drastically reduce the coin's value, the truth is there are still some collectors who look for coins in this condition, especially when it comes to error coins or coins that have historical significance, like this one. Less than pristine state, it's typically graded lower. A coin like this one with visible grime scratches or surface marks would likely fall into the good or very good categories for grading. This condition directly impacts its auction value. But don't be discouraged just yet. Let's see how much this coin could actually be worth. Now, let's talk numbers. The value of a 1967 Roosevelt dime in dirty condition can fluctuate based on a few key factors: the market demand, the coin's condition, and whether collectors are willing to pay a premium for such a coin. There are several factors that influence a coin's value even beyond condition. For example, scarcity plays a big role. While a 1967 Roosevelt dime may seem common, the large date variety with no mint mark is a little more intriguing to collectors. Plus, the general interest in Roosevelt dimes has been on the rise as collectors look for coins that commemorate a significant historical figure like FDR. Other elements that can impact the value include demand in the market, historical significance, and whether or not there are specific errors or unusual characteristics with the coin. A coin that might seem dirty or unremarkable to the untrained eye could still have some surprising value to the right buyer. So there you have it. The 1967 Roosevelt dime large date with no mint mark in dirty condition is worth anywhere from $45,000 on today's auction market. It's not a high-value coin, but for those of you with one of these in your collection, it's still a great find and a solid addition to your numismatic journey. Next up, the 2005 Roosevelt dime with P mint mark in good condition. You might be wondering, is this coin worth anything? How much could it fetch in today's auction market? Let's dive in and find out. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing, and it has remained a staple of U.S. coinage ever since. The 2005 issue is a part of the series that features a portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse, designed by John R. Sinnock, and on the reverse, you have the torch, olive branch, and oak branch symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. So, what makes the 2005 Roosevelt dime with the P mint mark unique? The P mint mark indicates that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the main facilities for minting U.S. coins. The 2005 release was part of a regular issue of dimes, and coins with the P mint mark are often considered less rare than those minted in other years or at different mints. But we're specifically talking about the coin in good condition. Now, in the world of coin grading, good is one of the lower grades. It indicates significant wear on the coin, but not to the point where it's unrecognizable. You'll likely see some flattening of the details, but the overall design remains visible and the date and mint mark are legible. Now let's talk about the current market value. For a 2005 Roosevelt dime with P mint mark in good condition, the value is relatively modest in today's auction market. You're typically looking at a value ranging between $2,000. This is because, while the coin is part of regular minting, it's still quite common to find on the market. However, the price can fluctuate depending on demand and any other factors, such as whether the coin has any particular historical significance era or if it's sold as part of a larger collection. For example, coins in slightly better condition, such as those graded very fine or extra fine, can go for higher prices. As for the long-term value, because the 2005 Roosevelt dime is a regular issue coin with a relatively large mintage, it's not likely to increase in value significantly unless it is part of a set or contains an error. Most of the interest in the 2005 dimes will remain low unless a specific rarity or condition factor comes into play. In conclusion, a 2005 Roosevelt dime with P mint mark in good condition is generally worth between $3,000 in today's auction market. While not a highly valuable coin on its own, it still holds its place in the vast world of U.S. numismatics, and if you find one in great condition or with some rare characteristics, it could be worth more. Next up, the 2010 Roosevelt $1 dime with the P mint mark, and just how much it's worth if you happen to find one in uncirculated condition. Could this modern coin be a hidden gem in your collection? Let's find out. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing. The 2010 version of this dime was minted by the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, as indicated by the P mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. This coin, measuring 17.91 millimeters in diameter and weighing just 2.268 grams, is part of the ongoing series. And while it's a regular issue coin, its value can still be quite interesting depending on its condition. An uncirculated coin means that it hasn't been used in regular commerce and shows no signs of wear or aging. These coins have sharp, crisp details, and the metal's original luster is still visible. On an uncirculated Roosevelt dime, You should see clean, well-defined features, especially in places like Franklin Roosevelt's profile, the torch on the reverse, and the overall brightness of the coin. Now let's get to the big question. How much is a 2010 Roosevelt dime worth today in uncirculated condition? Well, the answer depends on a couple of factors, but generally, the 2010 P-Mint marked dimes are not considered rare in terms of overall mintage. The US. Mint produced billions of these coins in 2010. Now, while $2,000 is the general ballpark, keep in mind that the value of a coin can fluctuate based on several factors. For example, if the coin is part of a set or has an unusual feature, it might fetch a higher price. Coins in absolutely perfect condition, often graded by services like or as MS or higher, could go for upwards of $5,000, especially if there's increased collector interest in that year. Also, the current demand for certain types of coins and collectors' interest in specific years and mints can cause prices to rise or fall over time. So, if you're looking to sell or buy, it's always a good idea to keep an eye on market trends if you're looking to find out what your 2010 Roosevelt dime is worth right now. The best way is to check current listings on auction sites like eBay or consult a professional coin grading service. You can search by the mint mark and condition to find coins with similar characteristics, and that will give you a good idea of how much you might get in today's market. Next up, the 1992 large date with a D mint mark, and we're talking about its value even if it's in bad condition, so whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, stay tuned because this coin might surprise you. Let's start with some background on the 1992 Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his death. It's been a staple of American coinage ever since. Now let's zoom in on the 1992 version. In 1992, the US. Mint released two types of dimes, the standard 1992 dimes and the 1992 large date version, which is distinguished by a noticeable difference in the size of the numbers in the date. This was a change made during production, and it's part of what makes the 1992 dimes so interesting to collectors. Next, let's talk about the mint mark. The 1992 Roosevelt dime was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver. The Denver Mint produced the coins with the D mint mark, which stands for Denver. These coins are more common than the ones minted in Philadelphia, which have no mint mark at all. Now, here's the tricky part: the coin's condition. You might have heard the saying, condition is everything, and that's especially true when it comes to coins. A coin in pristine, uncirculated condition will always be worth more than one in poor, worn-out shape. But what about a coin in bad condition? Does that mean it's worthless? A coin described as being in bad condition usually means it has heavy wear, scratches, discoloration, or even damage, but it's still a genuine piece of currency. The 1992 dime with a D mint mark, even in bad condition, still holds value. It's important to note that the value will be much lower than a coin in excellent condition or even one that's graded as fine or very fine. So how much is this coin worth today in bad condition? The 1992 Roosevelt dime with D mint mark typically ranges from about $26,000 in today's auction market. While that's not a huge amount compared to a coin in mint state, it's still a piece of US history. It's important to remember that dimes like this are often found in pocket change or circulated heavily, so their value can be influenced by factors like wear, environmental damage, and cleaning. While it's not a high-dollar coin by any means, it's still a coin that collectors keep an eye on, especially if they are looking to complete a collection of Roosevelt dimes from different years. Plus, you may find that some auction houses or collectors are willing to pay a bit more for a 1992 large date dime with unique wear patterns or other characteristics. Let's take a deeper look at what might affect the value of your 1992 dime. For collectors, things like rarity, mintage numbers, and the specific condition of the coin can play a huge role. While 1992 dimes are fairly common, if your coin has a unique characteristic, like a certain error or unusual wear, it could make it more valuable. Next up, the 2015 Roosevelt dime with the D mint mark in fine condition. Stay tuned to find out its value in today's auction market. Before we get into the value of the 2015 D Roosevelt dime, let's take a quick trip down history lane. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, just after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, to honor his legacy. He played a huge role in the creation of the March of Dimes, which helped fight polio. That's why the dime features a profile of Roosevelt himself, a classic design that's been with us for decades. The 2015 edition, like all dimes minted after 1965, is made of a copper nickel-clad composition, with a weight of just 2.27 grams and a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, but don't let its size fool you. This little coin can be valuable depending on its condition and rarity. So what makes the 2015 Roosevelt dime with the D mint mark stand out in today's auction market? First, let's talk about the mint mark. The D mint mark indicates the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which is one of the primary mints for producing US coins. While the Denver Mint produces millions of coins each year, there are still some unique factors that can drive up the value of certain coins, including the 2015 dimes. Now, when it comes to coins, the term fine condition is used to describe coins that show moderate wear but still retain a lot of their detail. For a 2015 dime, a coin in fine condition would have visible wear on Roosevelt's portrait, and the reverse side featuring the torch, olive branch, and oak branch may show some slight fading, but all of the main details should be intact. Coins in fine condition are often found in circulation, which means that they might have been used in daily transactions. However, don't be discouraged if your 2015 Roosevelt dime has some wear and tear. It can still be worth something, especially if it's a part of a rare coin set or has some unique characteristics. So, the big question: how much is the 2015 Roosevelt dime with the D mint mark worth in today's auction market? Based on the latest auction data and sales trends, a 2015 Roosevelt dime in fine condition typically sells for around $2,000. Yes, it's not a huge sum of money, but it's not insignificant either. This price is primarily driven by collectors who are looking to complete their sets or who may be seeking coins from specific years or mint marks. Now, you might be wondering why this coin isn't worth a lot more. Well, as we mentioned, the 2015 Roosevelt dime isn't a rare coin, and there weren't any special minting errors or production anomalies that would drive up its value. It's the same standard dime that most people used in their pocket change in 2015. Alright, let's say you have a 2015 D Roosevelt dime, and you're ready to sell. Where should you go? You have a few options. You can check online marketplaces, coin shops, or auction platforms. Websites like eBay, Heritage Auctions, or Great Collections often list coins for sale and can give you a sense of what similar dimes are going for. But keep in mind, the price you get will depend on the demand for that specific coin at the time of the auction. Coin prices can fluctuate, and if your coin is listed during a particularly slow period, you might not get as much as you'd like. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this coin analysis, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. Have you found any 2015 Roosevelt dimes in your collection? What's the most valuable coin you've ever come across? We'd love to hear about it. Until next time, happy collecting.